So there's a real difference between the candidates that you get through a standard recruitment process of competency-based assessment and a strengths-based assessment process. The candidates that you get through a competency-based assessment process are capable and can do the job, and obviously you have a hit and a miss rate that means some people can do it as well as they said they could in the interview and some people can't. But with a strengths-based assessment methodology, the chances of getting someone to bluff and fake it are minimal. You know, you have real confidence at stage of appointment that you have attracted a candidate that has the strengths that are going to be needed for them to do that job amazingly.
You don't just change the way you interview, you change actually your advertisement, where you advertise, online. You're really encouraging people to look at that job differently and does it fit them again. So I think if I was to use one person as an example, if that was someone who'd worked in the army, he'd been in the army for 20 to 25 years, and I remember speaking to him about 3 or 6 months afterwards, and he says he looked at the interview and thought, like at the application, and thought, oh, a contact centre, oh, I didn't realise that was a contact centre, but the job description looks like something that I would like to do. And then he came in and did the strength-based interview, and he was just thriving 6 months down the line. He said if someone had said to him when he left the army he was going to work in a contact centre, he would never ever have believed them.
You know, it gives you a much more three-dimensional approach to a person, so that you know you can say, well, actually they did great here but not great here, but it kind of balances things, and so I think where you could do great on the specialist side of things, have all the skills, tick the boxes, but actually you failed the strength-based interview technique. You know, you failed on that side. So actually, that does filter out that person that would be great at tasks, great at getting things done on time, but actually, as an all-rounder, they may not be so good for that particular role.
I think interestingly, one of the interviews we did and appointed through strengths-based, we'd previously interviewed that candidate in a competency-based interview, and they did not get the job. But when we interviewed them strengths-based, it was night and day. They shone through, and we would not have appointed them if it hadn't been for strengths-based recruitment.
It's given me a lot of personal insight into my career direction, which is great, but it's also put me in a much stronger position to support our nursing workforce to get the right jobs for individuals. It suddenly made it crashingly obvious why people are not comfortable in a role that they're in.
When you're being interviewed by somebody who's using a strength-based interview technique, it doesn't actually feel like an interview at all. It feels like you're just having a conversation with somebody, and in that they're really interested in just getting to know you and what makes you tick. I remember being part of one interview, for instance, and I think I could have just sat and talked forever. Like, I felt like I was just talking about myself, and I walked out and I thought, did I just have an interview? Was that an interview for a job?
For me, it was really lovely doing that interview. I felt really moved afterwards, because I felt that the people that were interviewing me were genuinely interested in me as a person, not just about how I would do in tasks and how well I scored.
When you go into a strengths-based assessment process, nothing can prepare you for it other than the collective wisdom of who you are in the moment. And you bring that to the assessment, and the interviewer is curious about it. They have to be, in order to work out whether you're right for the role or not. And you leave the room with some real light bulb moments around who you are and what you're going to bring to the organisation you're being assessed for. And that then puts you in a position of real power as a candidate to make a decision on, is that for me? And if it is, you start the contract in a really powerful way, because the interviewer really knows you. You know they really know you. You've not bluffed, you've only been yourself. You've not lied or blagged it, or you're not nervous that they don't really know the full you. And so you sort of enter into a rapport from day one. And it's really powerful.
Well, I think one of the issues for businesses is that they often can just kind of hire in their own image, and so you get this ever decreasing pool of talent within an organisation, so that the stories that the organisation is creating for themselves and for their customers becomes quite monotonous. And in order to really replenish and bring diversity and strength into the organisation, they need to be able to look further afield, but often they need help to do that. And I think strengths-based recruitment and the ideas behind it can help organisations do that.
I'd say go for it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's a real eye-opener. I think it's what's needed. I think we need to do something new now. I think we are probably potentially recruiting too many wrong people for the role. And then we're also losing people with such potential during the old traditional interview process. I think it's about getting real and recruiting real people.
You only make it a great place to work if the people are actually enjoying what they're doing. To get people to enjoy what they're doing, it has to be a natural fit for them. It has to be their natural ability to want to do something or their natural strength. People try and fix, let's make this a great place to work by giving them cakes or prizes. Well, that doesn't always fit that person, but if you go down the whole strength-based part of that and the whole strength-based revolution, you'll totally change your whole business, and actually you won't need to concentrate on making it a great place to work, because it will just be a great place to work.
It's the difference between the process that will bring you in the candidate with the certificate versus the candidate with the ready brick glow.